Hi, and welcome to the Actor's Roadmap. I'm Craig Jackman. Do you enjoy being in front of people? Do you like being the center of attention? Do you like performing for an audience, like karaoke, public speaking, or telling stories, maybe even doing cosplay? Have you ever been told you look good on camera? Has someone ever told you you might be a good actor? Ever wonder what you need to do to get started acting? If you can answer yes to these questions, welcome to the club. I guess I didn't realize it when I was a kid, even though my mom did take me to an audition for an agent when I was 8, and they said they wanted to represent me. But that didn't stop me from enjoying being the center of attention then and now. Or acting out in character while singing to a recording of my favorite band, or even today at karaoke. Or dressing up in my Renaissance Fair costume and acting as if I was back in that time. Heck, even for my regular employment, I would do audio and video projects, even MC corporate events. And yes, performing in a play or musical on stage to tell a story. What a great feeling to be able to do that and want to take it to a higher level. That's what I'm doing. So why not also share what I know with others who have the same desire? So once again, welcome to the Actor's Roadmap. I call it the Actor's Roadmap because in order to get to our final destination, we need to plan a trip, if you will. And one of the best ways to do this is with a roadmap. I remember when our family moved from Los Angeles to Chicago, we went to AAA and got one of those road maps, the ones that existed before GPS back in the good old days. It was a huge piece of paper folded down to look manageable. Open it up and you see what appears to be a huge drawing with a bunch of lines on it. Follow these lines and you would eventually get to your destination. There were many lines or roads that would guide you to that final spot. And along the way there would be other cities, roads, and stops, kind of highlights along the way. How does this relate to acting? Let me show you. Here's a map of the United States. I've always been a map geek, starting back with our cross-country trek from Los Angeles to Chicago. I wanted to find out where I was going and how we were going to get there. So when we packed our old station wagon, I held the maps while Mom drove the car from point A to point B. Without that map and the plan to use it, along with our necessities, we wouldn't have got there. But today I'm not going to take you to Chicago. I'm going to take you to Houston to illustrate a point. Here's a map of the Houston metropolitan area. It's nicely laid out. And what's in the center of all those lines? The city of Houston. Now, let's change a few things and look at it from an acting point of view. Think of these roads as paths a person must take to become an actor. The point is that there are many ways to get to a destination, the center, or in our case, the goal. And keep this in mind while we go through this presentation. You ready? Let's plan our trip. First of all, who is this trip or presentation for? People who are interested in getting started with acting. Age won't matter for this trip, but I will concentrate more on those that know how to drive, more of the adult actor. And this is not to say that what I'm saying won't apply to younger actors, but there are some differences. During this presentation, my goal for you is to do my best to share the right information to effectively get you started on your travels, whether it's stage or screen, and based on my research and experience, help with the basic tools or steps you need to take to put you in the right direction. Advise you on some of the more common resources you'll need to help you advance your career, and help you with keeping your state of mind intact while on your travels. So before getting underway, here's some house rules or rules of the road. There is no guarantee of work or compensation involved. As with anything and everything, if you do nothing, nothing will happen. And take it from someone who's been known to procrastinate. Any success stories shared are about people who worked hard and smart. Your success is up to you and what's going on in your life. Are there exceptions to these rules? Of course. We hear about them all the time. But we are looking at the norm. And besides, exceptions will happen when they happen. But don't expect them. So as we start on our journey, let me give you some information about getting to our destination. Since we need to get our vehicle or car ready to hit the road, let's make sure our vehicle is properly tuned up with the right information about acting. Getting paid jobs takes time and work. It takes patience, and effort. This is not a full-time job in the traditional sense. Very few actors make enough money full-time to truly survive. Unemployment is part of the acting lifestyle. According to the acting unions, only about 2% of actors live well. Employment in acting, however, is projected to grow due to strong demand for new movies and television shows. Figures indicate about a 10% growth from 2014 to 2024. Theatrical growth is expected to be slower due to the lack of funding that may occur. And get used to something called the rejection factor, as well as other bumps in the road, which happen all the time in this business, and we'll talk more about these later. Now that the vehicle is all tuned up, let's pick some of our final destinations of success. New York, Los Angeles, London. These three cities are considered the most popular final destinations when it comes to considering a successful acting career. Sorry, Houston. Now, let me make some points about these cities. Unless you already live in these three areas or you have the ability to survive in these expensive cities, don't go there right away. Wait until you've done some things we've recommended here before considering moving to these cities. To break it down, New York is mostly popular as a final destination for professional theater, although there are some TV shows still being produced in this town. Los Angeles, also known as Hollywood, is traditionally known as the base for television and movies. And London. This city is probably well known outside of the US for its theater and television production. Are there other destinations? Yes. In the United States, there are some productions in smaller big cities like Atlanta, Chicago, Minneapolis, St. Paul, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, and South Florida. And by the way, I'm going to also include Vancouver, Canada in this list, as there has been a number of growing productions here in this area. And then worldwide, in England, besides London, there's Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh, and Birmingham. Ireland has Dublin. And there are many projects coming from India, also known as Bollywood. Since most of you watching this presentation probably live outside these areas, here are a few suggestions with comments as starting points to consider while taking or even starting your acting road trip. And this applies no matter where you live. Think about where you work. What about doing skits for company events? Or becoming a teacher of your line of business specialty and sharing it with others. This gets you in front of people and maybe even a camera. Museums. Become a tour guide at a local museum, or portray a historic character by doing research and acting as that character. Here, you can dress up and act as if you were them in his or her time. I have an actor friend who made a good living as Father Junipero Serra, a preacher who was responsible for building the California missions, and he would travel around the state as that character and portray him. Community events, local festivals, same as museums, or even putting together a local acting troupe and doing a short play or performance on one of their stages. Amusement and theme parks. I'm going to be obvious here because I live in Los Angeles, because we have Disneyland and Universal Studios that use a tour guide concept on some of their rides to tell the story. And I did this a long time ago as Congo Craig on the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland. Talk about an amazing experience and learning how to interact with people in a live setting. Or even one of the costumed characters that walk around the park and engage the people. Of course, there's theater, and that's local or community, and most of this stuff is available to those interested in showing up and performing. How about doing cosplay events or costume play, a form of performance art where you dress up and act in character? And it doesn't have to be Halloween either. What about like Renaissance fairs or anime and Comic-Con events? We'll go into more of these starting points on our Actors Roadmap later in a different set of circumstances. But this gives you an idea of the various paths or roads you can take to reach your ultimate goal. We're almost ready to hit the road, so to speak. First, let's start packing the suitcase with things we're going to need to take on our journey. And I'm going over these items briefly, as we could do a much more in-depth presentation on each. Headshots. Typically, one good headshot is a great way to get started, but as there are essentially two types of headshots, it is recommended you get two. One commercial, which has more of a smile on your face, and the second, more theatrical, one a bit more serious. Most important here is to show your face to the person who is considering you for the role. It is essentially your calling card, and keep it as simple as possible. Make sure you look good. Wear simple clothes. Ladies, wear simple to no makeup. Have as little going on in the background as possible, and show personality. Have something going on in your mind while taking pictures, so it comes through your eyes, depending on the type of headshot you're creating. And headshots are typically 8 inches by 10 inches in size. Here are a couple of examples of commercial headshots. And here are a couple of examples of serious headshots. The resume is next. Similar to if you were going to get a full-time or a part-time job, a resume is needed for the actor to show the body of work he or she has done. Whether you have a lot of experience or little, the resume lets the casting person know if you just might be the right person for the role. Typically, the resume contains brief personal statistics and contact information, theatrical, film, and TV credits, training, and special skills. I'm going to say this is true about 98% of the time because it's always possible that just looks alone could get you hired, but don't depend on it. Here's a better look at my resume. Name, union affiliation, contact phone number on top, along with basic personal stat information. Here also you can see my theatrical credits. Next is my film, television, cable, and online credits. And at the bottom of the page, a list of my training and special skills. A resume should only be 1 page in length and sized to match your headshot at 8 by 10. It should be attached to the back of your headshot and preferably stapled so they remain firmly together. Another item in your luggage should be a monologue. When going to an audition, besides reading from a script, the casting person will often ask for a monologue depending on the type of show you're going to try out or audition for. As with headshots, it's recommended that you have 2 brief monologues ready to go, 1 comedic and 1 serious. And just because a piece may be good for one actor doesn't necessarily mean it will work for you. It's important to choose the monologue that is right for you, one that feels good to you, one you can relate to. And a 2 to 3 minute monologue is always recommended. For those who are interested in musicals, you should have 16 to 32 bars of a musical selection ready to go. Typically, unless called for, music should come from the classic movie or stage musicals. Popular karaoke songs do not typically count unless asked for in the audition notice. And make sure you use the part of the song that best shows off your voice or talent. Since your musical selection will usually be played by the music director on their keyboard or piano during the audition, you should have the sheet music of that selection available. As you build up your credits, it's always a good idea to have a demo reel ready. This gives the casting person, agent, manager, or other person who might be considering you for a role or representing you an idea of what you can do during a performance. You should use brief video selections of your best performances from stage shows, if you can get someone to tape the performance, or from film, TV, or commercials you might have. Make sure they are good enough quality to share with people who would request them, like agents or managers. And keep each segment short and sweet. In other words, make sure it holds their attention. Usually, demo reels are 1 to 2 minutes in length, with your best stuff first. Websites. These are perfect with today's technology. Given our fast-paced environment and everyone having cell phones, tablets, and computers, websites are great when it comes to promoting you and your projects. In my opinion, one of the best free websites available is Facebook. In addition to having your own personal page, You can put together your own fan page with details and information accessible to everyone. Not only your family and friends, but people in the industry using one of the most used services available. YouTube is also another source that can be used as you develop and get more video content of yourself. And of course, if you have the time, your very own personal website. Now that your luggage is packed, let's map out some of your destinations on your career travels. Or shall we say, where are the acting jobs? Movies, we all know about this, the big screen, an ultimate goal for many. Television, the other screen, the smaller screen. And now with cable channels and pay services growing with content programming, this is on the rise. Stage. This is part of what I like to call the big three. And this is fairly easy, especially on the local level with community theater. But if you're thinking about it as a profession, the hottest spots are New York and London. Those are where the jobs are most prestigious. Other areas of entertainment that are also lucrative? Voiceover. That's right. Using your own voice for commercials, industrials, animation, live events. This is actually a nice industry, if I do say so myself. Yes. What about becoming a stand-up comedian? If you have a great sense of humor and timing, this has been a destination for many. And we've seen these guys and gals hold court in front of audiences and deliver a show based on observations and their take on life. Many actors and actresses have started themselves as stand-up comedians. Robin Williams, Tom Hanks, Roseanne Barr, just to mention a few. Background acting or extra work. This is actually fun to do if you want to get an idea of what goes on a movie or TV set. You become part of the background. Unsung heroes that add their body to the picture. Walking, standing, running. Acting something in the scene that is going on in the background from the main characters. There is money here, and there are some actors that do fairly well, but in general, there's not much. However, it is a great way to get an on-set experience. In fact, there are background casting agencies available that are considered industry legit. Are there others? Yes, there are more specialized jobs available, and they can lead to careers in acting, stunt work, modeling, working on a cruise ship as an entertainer, and many more. When it comes to acting as a career, it does take a community to reach your ultimate goals. Suffice to say, you really can't do this on your own. You need to have some help along the way to get there. People to help you navigate your map. These are the team players that you typically need to work with to make it. And there are two people right off the bat that when you watch the Emmys or Oscars, you hear a lot of people refer to: agents and managers. The agent is the person who represents you and helps you get the jobs for movies, TV, and paid theater. They know where the paying gigs are and work with you and for you to help you get paid work. That's right. They will help negotiate the best price for you as it relates to the job and your experience. An agent has two sets of clients: the talent, actors, models, voiceover artists, etc., and the buyer. The buyer can be a casting director, advertising agency, production company, photographer, or direct client if the client has an in-house production staff. Agents promote talent to the buyers, submitting the talent who have the appropriate age, race, sex, look, talent, etc. that the buyer is seeking for his or her project. The agent will only get paid when you book something, and they get 10% of what the negotiated price is. There is so much more to mention about an agent. For now, let's just say that your agent should be franchised with the unions and shouldn't ask you for money to represent you. These are known as the legitimate agents. Managers are people who help you manage your career, oversee the day-to-day business affairs of an artist, advise and counsel talent concerning professional matters, long-term plans, and personal decisions which may affect your career. In my opinion, you don't necessarily need a manager as much as you need an agent right away, but they are also important and necessary to help you manage your acting day-to-day responsibilities. The thing to remember is that managers are not bound to the rules of the unions like an agent is, and typically are entitled to 10 to 15% of your negotiated contract for a job. And that's on top of an agent if you have one. So, with managers, it is important to be careful when it comes to just signing with anyone off the street. This is where it is most important to do research, because you could get caught into a contract with a manager that could be detrimental to your career. Consider this a warning, but please note, there are many legitimate and good managers out there that are sincerely interested in helping you with your acting career. Casting people or casting directors. You could run into these people whether you have an agent, a manager, or not. These are the people who sift through all of the actor submissions, headshots, and resumes, and try to find the best person to fill the role. Movies, television, commercials, sometimes even photo shoots. It is their job to bring to the directors and producers a pool of talented people to fill the roles for whatever the project is. They don't make money from you directly, as they are paid typically by the producers to find you, the right person for the job. They are very important in that they can also recommend you to other projects that they may be working on either now or in the future. And you want to go in to meet these people professionally and treat them with respect, as they can be an important gatekeeper in your career. They see tons of actors as they are hired guns by the production companies for their projects, and can bring you in if you make a very good impression at a session you, your manager, and your agent may not even be aware of. Actor Rob Lowe, who says he loves to audition, said this about casting directors in a recent interview with Casted Talent. You need to remember, they, the casting directors, spend hours hoping against hope that someone comes in that door and takes a big swing and knocks it out of the park. They're in it for you to win it. Networking with others is very important. You should always cultivate good relationships with everyone you come in contact with. Why? Because they may be the same people who down the road could get you that break, that big break, the one that everyone wants, and the one that keeps you acting. Producers, directors, casting people, other actors. You should also be nice to your tech people. In my case, I've had instances where actor friends recommended me for roles, and even the stage manager for a show that I did. You never know who will be recommending you for something down the road. So again, I insist, treat everyone with respect. Another part of your acting tool set is taking classes when you can. Classes will always help you hone your skills as much as performing will. Plus, you'll be working with other actors on scenes, as well as with instructors who should have the experience in helping you figure out the character or characters you are looking for or that are your type. Or in the case of voiceover, improv, dance, stand-up, the skills needed to better excel at what you want to do. Classes will always help you analyze what you're looking for and help you get better at some of the tools you'll need to make you stand out. When going for classes, always look into them. The best is to audit a class if it's not part of a high school or college. Most good instructors will allow you to audit one class, so you get a chance to see what takes place. Then also ask questions of actors and how they like the class, and see if your actor friends are taking classes that they like. More than likely, you will have to pay for acting classes, so be prepared to save up for them. It's all part of your goal to get, as my dear friend Robert Hollis likes to say, gooder and gooder at what you do. Just remember, you are in this for the long run. So now it's time to look at the unions. It's not that you can't work without the unions, but ideally you will eventually need them if you want to earn the big money. The unions were created years ago to protect actors from long hours and little or no pay for their talent, as well as from being taken advantage of. And also understand that joining any union is no guarantee of work or a job. The two main acting unions are SAG AFTRA and Equity. SAG AFTRA is a union that was recently combined where SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, which specializes in film, came together with AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, which handled TV, video, and national radio programming, as well as voice actors, motion capture performers, and video game talent. They combined in 2012 and represent approximately 160,000 members. Equity. The real name is Actors Equity Association, but many know it as Equity. This is the union geared more for the professional stage actor or live theater, as well as stage managers. Equity represents more than 50,000 worldwide, and its main purpose is to negotiate and provide performers and stage managers quality living conditions, livable wages, and benefits. Agfa is a smaller union in the entertainment industry known as the American Guild of Variety Artists and represents performers in variety entertainment, including circuses, as well as Las Vegas showrooms and cabarets, comedy showcases, dance reviews, theme parks, and magic shows, just to mention a few. Sometimes Agfa does overlap responsibilities with Equity, and last member count is over 2,600 members. As mentioned before, you don't need to join the unions right away as you start your career, as you could be limiting yourself to the number of opportunities to gain experience, because unions have specific requirements regarding working on non-union projects. But eventually you will want to do it, because most big-ticket jobs come from union membership. Each union has their own specific requirements and fees which could be considered costly when starting. And here are some real-life statistics regarding actors and the unions. Over 90% of SAG AFTRA members make less than $12,000 per year, and over 90% of Equity members are unemployed. Please understand, at this point, I'm giving you the basics. Your success will depend on a lot of different factors, but as long as you know what you're getting into, that's what's most important here. Earlier, I mentioned about getting experience, and we did discuss a few which I'll mention briefly again: local and community theaters and events, and amusement and theme parks. Let's add a few more to this list. Student films. There are plenty of college students that look for actors to help them with their film ideas. This is great for your experience and even your demo reel. What about performing a play for church or charity? Open mic nights for those interested in stand-up, and check your local comedy club for the requirements and when these do occur. Performing on cruises. Get paid to live on a cruise ship and perform in front of an audience on a regular basis. Create and perform your own YouTube video projects, shows, or series. Some actors get noticed from the videos they create here. Local cable access channels. Same rules apply here as for YouTube, though your program may have to meet specific cable channel guidelines. And high school and college courses and productions. Now that you've got all your stuff in place, it's time to hit the road. For many of you, theater will most likely be your first road to travel on, and you can find theater in almost every community. But regardless of the road you travel, theater, stage, or screen, big or small, the process to getting a role is pretty much the same. There are typically 6 steps to go through. The audition is always first. Consider this the first interview. Many people show up for the roles that are available in the project, and the casting person and director sort through those they feel fit the part the best. Usually, people read from the script or perform a monologue. If the audition is for a musical, often there will be a dance audition and singing the 16 to 32 bars from your musical selection. One of the things you need to get used to is rejection. And this will happen to you more than once, and you probably will never know the reason why you didn't get what is known as the callback or the second round. We can go into more details another time, but suffice to say that you need to do your best in the audition process, and then move on. Don't dwell on the reason why you didn't get the part. The callback is the second round. Now you'll compete with fewer people and the people who just might be cast in the role. There's more reading from the script with different actors to see how you fit into the producer's and director's plans. If you didn't get let go in the callbacks, you got the job! Woohoo! Congratulations! Time to start preparing for the role. Time to get to work by reading the script and learning about the character you are about to portray, and getting to know the story you're about to tell. Rehearsals take place next. Sometimes this could be 1 to 2 days, 4 to 8 weeks as with a stage production, or a year or more when it comes to a full-blown movie. You'll need to not only learn and memorize your script, but also the blocking or where you have to be at a specific time, as well as dance moves and songs if a musical. Put it all together, and it's time for the performance. This is where the magic comes alive, where the preparation and rehearsal finally come together in front of a live audience. It's showtime! Now is the time you give everything you have because the audience is expecting you to give them a show. Remember that you are doing this for the love of performance and experience. Yes, congratulations, you got the role, but you need to understand that the performance is not about you. It's about the role you portray and sharing it with your audience in the best way. So what is the bottom line here? As an actor, do you want to treat this as a hobby or a career? We've shared the basic tools needed to travel on this journey. Some people may just want to enjoy this as a hobby. Awesome! Go for it! There are plenty who do this because they enjoy the act of performing. But there are plenty of people who want to do this as a business and make it a livelihood. Given everything we've discussed here, if you want to make acting a career, it takes a mindset and planning. One of the biggest questions to ask yourself is, can you survive the time between acting jobs? We all know it takes money and a steady stream of income to live. So now you'll have to figure out how to live and pursue your dream. It's not going to be easy, and even though it may sound cliche, good things will come to those who wait and plan properly. Again, this is not an overnight thing. So enjoy the ride on your road trip. Some things to consider if you choose this road, besides earning money to live, is what is your day job? Does it allow for flexibility to pursue your acting career or help you enjoy your acting hobby? And if you are doing this full time, be prepared to market and promote yourself constantly. We've already mentioned some of those internet tools earlier, and there are many other ways to do this as well that include making simple photo business cards and postcards to share with others to keep them up to date with what you're doing. You are what you put into this. Now it's time to tell you that there are a lot of people out there who will want to take advantage of you during your road trip. Yes, you will experience some bumps in the road. People who exploit the fact that you want to become a famous actor and you want to do it quickly. Since this is your career and one that takes time and experience, don't fall for the many scams that are out there. To help you avoid them or at least be aware of what's going on, here are some tips. There are 3 types of scams that most of us will encounter: agents, managers, and casting directors. Beware of these scams as they may appear to be legitimate, but they just want to separate you from your money. Not that you won't be spending money on this journey, but you want to make sure that you use it and use it wisely. Never pay money up front when it comes to being represented by agents or managers. Never use a specific headshot photographer. If you are ever told to use a specific photographer or even take specific classes related to the company that you're working with, that is a warning sign. Don't do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. If you're asked to pose nude or do something that makes you feel uncomfortable, get away from that situation as fast as you can. What if you hear the phrase, "An opportunity could disappear if you don't act now"? You'll run into these type of scams where they make you an amazing offer, but only if you act today. Don't fall for the shiny objects. Just because it looks good and appears to be the quick fix for success doesn't mean it's genuine. Which brings up my next point. As noted before, there is no such thing as a guarantee of work. Take that to heart. If there is a guarantee of work, then more than likely it's a scam. The bottom line is that you need to ask questions and do the research. So who am I? My name's Craig Jackman. I've been involved with entertainment and events for more than 20 years, mostly on stage. I've also done some technical sound and lighting, production assistance or PA for a movie, worked as an extra and got paid for it even though I did end up on the cutting room floor, worked in voiceover, did work as an event master of ceremonies, and actively performing and working towards an acting career. In fact, more recently, I started getting paid for my acting performances. Yes, I am a paid actor. When you decided to become an actor, did you become lost because you didn't ask for directions? Because you thought you knew where you were going? I totally understand. Can I take a moment to finish my story that I started at the beginning of this about my family traveling from Los Angeles to Chicago? Well, we were only 5 minutes away from our final destination when my mom, I love her so much, said, "I know where we are. Let's get off here." I did point out from the map I had with me that we needed to go a little bit further on the highway we were on and we would be there. But she insisted that she knew where she was. Well, to make a long story short, we ended up arriving at our final destination 1 hour later than expected, and my mom, very tired, frustrated, and upset. The point here is that with the right tools for your travel and your roadmap in hand, you can get to your destination much easier. There is a lot to do to become an actor or an actress. I hope I've been able to help you think about the journey you want to take. As stated before, my goal is to help you on your way as a guide, a roadmap if you will, and to help you get started the best way I know how. So here are some final travel tips. Will this work perfectly? Maybe. Maybe not. Nothing's perfect. Each actor's path takes a different road. What does it take? Discipline, dedication, and above all, persistence. As Seneca the Younger, a Roman philosopher and dramatist, once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." The most important thing I can say is that acting is a marathon, not a sprint. And like a marathon, preparation is the key to making it, finishing it, and reaching your final destination, your goal. So what's next? If you like what you heard and want to share this information with a colleague or a friend, please feel free to do so. If you're interested in more and would like to help me, please make a comment like "yes" below this video and I'll reach out to you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And I hope this has opened your eyes to the world of acting, and particularly if you are considering it as a career. You are the star of your own destiny. I wish you nothing but success. Break a leg.